Now then, right, so in this video I'm going to attempt to solve the problem with my crankcase. So what's happening is this race here, the bearing housing, that's become worn, and then the bearing's actually spinning in the case. So how I'm going to try and fix it, I'm going to use this Loctite 638 bearing retainer. Now, I've never used it before, but apparently it's supposed to be really good stuff. I'm just a bit worried on how it's going to react to the two-stroke mix with the fuel and the oil. I've never used it before, so it's a bit trial and error for myself. I'm not sure on how it's going to react with putting the bearing in as well. Obviously heating the case. I've got the bearing in the freezer. The bearing's been in the freezer for just over a day now. So again, I'm not sure how this is going to react with the bearing being frozen. Like I say, it's all trial and error, but this is the first option that I'm going to go for, or this is the cheapest option. Other than that, if this don't work, then it's a case of you going down the route of machining the bearing housing, putting spaces in, which I ain't got the tools to do, and I certainly can't afford somebody to do it for me. So fingers crossed we'll have a go with this. If any of you have used it before, let me know, but I'm going to give it a go, and fingers crossed it's going to work. So I'll try and show you how I'm going to attempt to do it. I'm going to put the bearings in the same way I normally do. So the bearings are in the freezer. I'm going to heat the cases up. I'm probably not going to heat them up as much as I usually would, just to be a bit cautious on how this the adhesive's going to react to it, really. So yeah, stick with me and we'll see how it goes. Right, so that's the first bearing in. Seemed to go pretty smoothly. I did try putting a little, just a tiny little dab of the adhesive compound onto the bearing just to see what it would go like with it being frozen, but it didn't look very good to me, and it seemed to sort of, it didn't look right. So I cleaned it off, and then obviously I heated the case, and you saw there I just put a little bit just around the rim of the bearing housing, just so when I sit the bearing in, hopefully it'll drag some of the stuff and make it an even load on the bearing. And with it being hot, it was dripping quite a lot anyway. It sort of made it go a little bit lighter, where it's thick. But other than that, it seems to go alright. Any excess just wiped it off, but it seems to go in fine. So all I'm going to do now is just repeat that process with a second case, and then I'll set it aside to leave it cool. Alright, so that's both them bearings done. Pretty happy how it went, really. No dramas. That second one, I just had to tap it in a little bit with the hammer, but it soon dropped it. So I'm quite happy with how it went, not putting it on the bearing. Putting a little bit of adhesive just on the top of the bearing housing. I'm going to let these go off for about 24 hours, really. They should go off pretty quickly, but I'm just going to play it on the side of caution. But already I can see that they've made a difference. Like before, I used to be able to like physically spin the bearing in that case with my fingers and maybe even push it out, but now they're already tight, so fingers crossed it works. I'm not really going to know for sure if it's worked 100% until we get it in the bike and get the fuel in and get it ran up. So but apart from that, that's this video done with. So that's using the Loctite 638 bearing retainer. If you've got any info for me, just drop it down in the comments or any questions or whatever, but fingers crossed that's done the job. It's supposed to be good gear, so we'll wait and see. I'll get this engine rebuilt now, we'll get it back in the bike and hopefully get it run up. So keep an eye out for future videos and we'll know the results, see whether it's worked or not. So thanks for watching, much appreciated, thank you very much.